Hey everybody, what is going on? I am Maximus Rex and this is Big Baby Reviews. Today's Joe Quesada Day. We're taking a look at Batman Sword of Azrael issue number 3. Let's start with the cover right off the bat, and here it is. Pretty cool symbolic image, right? Kind of representing the fact that the Demon Bis, or Liha, who's taken his form, if you've seen the last two reviews of issue 1 and 2, is in conflict with Batman and somehow has probably gotten the upper hand. You know, we can, want to be really dramatic. Oh no, Batman's been killed or something. There's blood and stuff, whatever. Obviously, we know that doesn't happen in mainstream sequential comics, at least not to characters like Batman. The status quo always returns, but still a very striking cover. And dare I say, great illustration, but also a deadline cover. A little less involved than the other pages, covers like this one, or even the first issue triple gatefold cover, which was awesome. Still very effective nonetheless. Great cover, but probably could get through this pretty quickly and move on to working on some pages. Speaking of those, that is where we're going to go now. Let me just get my little bookmark here. All right, so if you remember last issue, now the scene kind of repeated here, where Jean-Paul Vallée, just like his father before him, draped in the garments of Azrael, his father was, he's just got him in the bag here, gets shot at and fall through a window. So a very familiar scene to Bruce Wayne. Now, as far as art goes on this one, I will be honest and just say this is literally, I think, the point where Kevin Nolan just fully takes over the look of the book, which is not a bad thing. It's kind of a hybrid thing between Joe Quesada and him. Neither Joe Quesada nor Kevin Nolan, but on this one, it almost feels like we're hitting like 85% Kevin Nolan, like maybe 15% Joe Quesada. So won't have that much to say about the art other than that as a general comment. But there's little story bits that I want to talk about that are interesting and fun that I'm going to point out. This sequence, though, I got to say, is very dynamic, definitely down to Joe Quesada, but look at the aesthetic of it is fully Kevin Nolan at this point. So Liha's got the better of Nomos here, but the gun jams, of course, right? That's, convenience of writing a comic book. This sequence I thought was just kind of weird and fun. Like, it's not something I'm used to seeing from Joe Quesada, and the choice to have it here I just thought was funny. There's almost like a $6 Million Man kind of vibe to it. That's kind of what it evokes for me. I hear that music, that weird music when everything slows down on that show. If you've ever seen it, check out bits of it on YouTube and you'll get it. The choice here to have the leg and the background both be black and kind of blend into each other, 100% Kevin Nolan, right? That's not a Joe Quesada thing. I'm pretty sure there would have been a highlight or something just to separate that a little bit, because again, I don't know how effective that is. Yes, we understand that his leg's not cut or anything, but graphically, it just kind of bothers me. It kind of pulls his leg into the background in an odd way. So Bruce Wayne not being very discreet in this sequence here, covering up the fact that he's Batman just with shades, but also an open jacket that revealed the Bat logo. So, that's kind of an odd choice there. No matter what this guy knows about Batman or not. He did mention last issue, though, again, because they're in Switzerland, I believe, he doesn't think anyone there would know anything about Batman or think that anything was out of the ordinary for Bruce Wayne, as they probably wouldn't recognize him. Love this, again, kind of in a way relates to the last $6 Million Man panel, right? This kind of deal here with the alternating light and dark greens, I think is super awesome and just eye-popping. And Quesada is a master at people running and doing like proper foreshortening for that and making it look like he's going damn fast. Looks good. And just the close-ups, as I mentioned last few reviews, right? There's still a little bit of Quesada left in there. And this warbly hand. So all throughout, there's been narration kind of what's going on. I'll mention it here because it becomes important to the actual. There's an interesting thing where both kind of levels blend in the story, and I thought that was clever from the writer, who is Dennis O'Neil, by the way, or Denny O'Neil. So in the sequence, Batman's a little bit out of it and dazed and drugged, right? Bruce Wayne. Bis all of a sudden turns into an actual demon, kind of reminiscent of Batman Begins, right? When the Scarecrow's gas makes Batman look kind of just monster dark and kind of like black goo kind of pouring out of his mouth. I thought that was such an awesome sequence. So confronting Liha, or the Demon Bis, right? And obviously not going to get the better of him in his drugged state. And basically what you have here in the narration, I'm going to ruin it for the kind of story beat, but you've got Liha, or Bis, narrating what's going on all throughout the sequence, right? Him taking Bruce Wayne to the ambulance, being accosted by the security guard here, taking care of him. He's just describing the events of what's going on, the images there. Until you get to the part where finally he does drive off with Bruce Wayne. and reveals that he's, the last kind of narration here, as he's describing all the events, says, and injected you with a drug that would ensure your cooperation. And once we get here, again, the continuation of that same sequence, now we've got the actual dialogue. Why are you telling me all this, right? And so what that harkens back to is that all that narration all the way throughout, we didn't realize at first, but was Leha or Biss describing all the events to Bruce Wayne. I thought that was kind of a clever writing trick. Even back in the day, I kind of picked up on it. Makes the fact that you've got all this expositional narration seem like it's, it's clever and it's worked into the story. Nice trick. So, of course, Jean-Paul Vallée, Azrael, Alfred, and Nomos are left behind. So, of course, they're going to team up, right? You got to figure out, Alfred obviously says that he's not going to cause any problems. Nomos, right, is threatening him with a knife because, he's got a vested interest in working together because he knows they probably know something about where Bruce Wayne is or who took him, right? Leha letting Bruce Wayne know here that he knows his secret and he knows that he is Batman. Azrael recovers here, a little bit of conflict between Nomos and Pennyworth, right? Nomos not hot to the idea of teaming up together to find Batman, doesn't feel it's necessary. It's not part of the St. Dumas Order of St. Dumas quest, right? But of course, Jean-Paul Vallée here going to protect Pennyworth from Nomos, and they are going to end up teaming up to try and help save the other members of the Order of St. Dumas that are targeted, right, to die, as we talked about in past reviews. I want to talk about the layout here. A good way to make dialogue heavy pages a little bit more interesting where there's not that much going on. Again, a bit of conflict here, but nothing major. There's definitely a 90s style kind of layout here. The overlapping panels. I have to believe, and I don't believe necessarily that Tom McFarlane is the originator of that. I'm sure it was done before, but he certainly popularized it, and QUESADA using a lot of those tricks to pretty good effect here. Also, he's doing this thing where the panel goes like full bleed, so it's almost like the reading direction, right, is very obviously hinted at in a way, graphically, and very easy to read is what I'm trying to say, right? Great storytelling. And then the end of the page here with just that kind of, back paneling, I guess you can call it, almost an abstract shape or a bit of a wall behind them or something that's just a flat color going off to the side into bleed here, just like that first panel, leading you through to the next page. So he's doing kind of on these pages more interesting layouts to kind of keep your interest, right? And he's doing it really well. Fortunately, one of the members of the Order of St. Dumas has already been found by Biss or Leha, so he's to die. And there's the result. These are some fun pages when you're an artist, I think, right? Because obviously, deadline-wise, this was a pretty quick page to get through. So Leha's trying to get answers out of Batman. I thought this was a nice little bit of dialogue from Denny O'Neil. As he's injecting him with truth serums and drugs to get him to talk and stuff, Bruce Wayne just babbles on and sings old songs and he's not giving anything out. And Leha's really kind of pissed at him, right? And he says, your performance was astonishing. How are you able to resist the most potent truth serum ever created? And this is the line that I think is really good for Batman. It's a good, nice Batman moment. Sign of misspent youth. While other guys were chasing girls and listening to rock and roll, I was learning mind control from funny-looking old men in faraway places with strange-sounding names far away over the sea. Just kind of encapsulates an aspect of Batman that we don't see enough of, I feel like, that whole training. That's why Batman Begins was such a great movie, and I think did really well. It's finally established Batman, right? As how did he get to that point? We've never seen it, right? In movies, anyways. The comics people, like you and I, we knew that stuff. A lot of talking again, figuring out where they need to go. So looking at the map here, they figured out where Leha is likely to strike next. And they drive up to this gentleman's private estate, Mr. Harcourt. I think they're in France or in England. I don't remember exactly. But, of course, Leha gets to them first. And I guess in a morbid bid to create even more confusion, chaos, has donned the costume of Batman. So now I guess he's trying to frame Batman for some of the murders he's going to commit. And this is something rarely seen, I think, at DC Comics, even in the early 90s. The Rob Liefeld style, Tom McFarlane style, horizontal splash page or vertical. I don't know how you're supposed to flip the book to see it, right? So I don't know if that ends up being horizontally splashed or vertically splashed. You decide. This is definitely a vertical image, right? But yeah, again, he's following what one of my important rules. If you're going to do a splash page or a double splash page, throw in a few insert panels just to kind of keep it interesting and keep some storytelling going. And QUESADA definitely does it here. Gives us really the first real money shot of Azrael in this whole series, other than maybe the cover to issue number 1. And it looks cool. It's just awesome. And, it's got that 90s vibe, even though Kevin Nolan's inking it. Maybe this is that little bit of 15% of, with the musculature on the legs and the arm and stuff here, how QUESADA typically does it. We're getting some of him, more of him anyways, in this particular image. And yeah, always thought it was great. And that's kind of a great way to end the book, or this issue anyways. And we'll continue next week and finish this off with the review for issue number 4 of Sword of Azrael. But this was issue number 3, the review of issue 3 of Sword of Azrael. So everyone out there, if you're still watching and you are subscribed, thank you so much. I really do appreciate your support. Always. If you're watching but you're not subscribed, please do so below. It only takes a quick second for you to do that, and it really helps the channel, helps us grow, and helps get us out there to other people who are into comic books just like we are. So everyone out there, thanks again, and have yourselves an awesome day. King Comics presents Big Baby Volume 1, issues 1 to 13, 204 pages of story and art. King Comics also presents Star Crasher one-shot, 32 pages, cosmic sci-fi surrealist adventure. You can find these fine comics at KINGCOMICS.CA, at MaximusRex13 on Instagram, or on Facebook, MaxRex or Big Baby.
Like! Subscribe! Like!